the fifth week that we are now. Thank you so much. I would not like to waste any of our time. We'll be going straight to today's session. Our tutor is already on board. We'll be onboarding people as the class goes on. Would not like to delay in starting. So thank you and wishing you all a beautiful time and a wonderful session. Thank you so much. Hello, Mamada. You have the stage now. Thank you so much.
All right. Hi, success. Hi, everyone. I hope we all have a good, we all had a good and productive Monday. So, I guess we can get started. Hi, Adeyemo. So yeah, let's chat on the channel if you have any questions or anything that we need to understand. As per the information from the last channel, from the last um lesson on Friday, it was a practical session. So we basically kind of looked at practicals that were done on Wednesday. And we decided that today we're going to build our own token and we're going to send it to each other. We are going to connect it to like a small React interface, try to send tokens, try to receive tokens, check our balance, and basically see how that works. So this will be again very introductory, and this is going to be a practical session. So I'm hoping how many of us have our laptops, how many of us are going to be working as we are working. You guys can just indicate in the chat box if you are going to if you have your systems configured and you're going to be working as we're working. All you need is a Node.js setup and React, so that you can do a create React app from scratch, and then another thing that you would need is what else we did a session with Node.js setup. So that's a major thing you will need, to be fair. And then we are going to use Remix IDE for the smart contract. So let us get started. If I miss you along the way, if I'm going too fast, feel free to put a message in the session, right? I wouldn't want us to waste much time like on Wednesday last week, which is why I want us to start quickly. So this is going to be very elementary React, so that at least even people that don't understand React, they understand some JavaScript and they can get some of the functions. We're not going to style a lot. The goal is to connect to a token smart. The goal is to deploy a token smart contract. That's token smart contract, and then yeah, and then send money and send that token and receive that token. FYI, the kind of token that we're creating is very similar to every regular token that you trade that has value in the Ethereum space. So let me start setting up my environment while I we have some kind of while I explain how tokens work. How many of you know how Ethereum tokens work? We can just have a comment in this session there. How many of you know how Ethereum tokens work? Um, or how? Okay. Oh, they have templates here. Okay, let me share my screen. So let me share my screen. Um, Ethereum has a kind of value transfer in itself, right? Every other token is built on top of that value transfer. So basically, the value of every token is based on a supply demand mechanism, unless it's a derivative token. A derivative token is something like, if you have heard of USDC, or like a standard metrics of token that is tied to the value of something in the outside world. So people in the US government, or people in the central bank in the US somewhere, are feeding in Ethereum data. That USDC. It is derived from the value in the outside world, right? But it is represented in Ethereum as an ERC20 token, in the Ethereum as an ERC20 token smart contract, right? There are other tokens that are similar, like that derive their value from the value in the outside world, right? But general tokens, that general ERC20 is basically interchangeable tokens. They are basically fungible tokens. Fungible tokens are tokens that can be interchanged for another. Like a very good example is, if you have dollar notes. There's $100. There are $20. There's $5. So I can say I have $20. Please, I need to break my $20. Can you give me $5? It's the same value. You can switch it up, and that makes it fungible, right? That makes it tradable. I can have that. I don't need to have exact $20 notes to have a value of $20 in my account. That's just the explanation of what that is. And all tokens on Ethereum, then again, I'm open to be proven wrong, because the blockchain is very vast. But I believe that all tokens are all interchangeable monetary value tokens are based on the ERC20 standard, which we're going to look at from the Open Zeppelin library. So they're based on the ERC20 standard. So it's a standard that has been published and acknowledged by Ethereum. This is the interface. This is the standard for ERC20, right? So even if you are not inheriting, we are going to be inheriting an external library to make our smart contract a lot easier. If you can see my screen, can you see my Solidity screen? So you can only see my remix. Even the remix IDE screen is not even the one I wanted you to see. Okay. Yeah, you guys are actually on the wrong screen. Let me stop sharing and share what I really want to share. Which means I have so many things open, I don't even know which is which, to be fair. Okay, so this is what you guys are seeing. What I want to share is this. Yes. So I want to share a blank screen with you guys. And I want to show you the solidity by example. So I was even talking about solidity by example, and you guys are not even seeing what I was showing you on the screen. We're basically going to use the tutorial so you can go through it on your own. They are all encouraged, they're all supported by Ethereum Foundation, so they recommend you to go through those lessons to learn some of their stuff, right? Yeah, so there is the ERC20 standard. Let me basically click on it. A standard is basically an interface. An interface, as many of us know, JavaScript, TypeScript, something that when you inherit from this interface, your class has to have the exact number, the exact description of the functions that are in the interface, right? So the standard ERC20 recognized interface is this. You have to have a function that has token supply, that is external, view only, it returns int. You have to have a function that has balance of a function that can transfer, function that has allowance, approve, transfer from. All of these functions have to be present in a smart contract if you want it to be considered as an ERC20 smart contract. That's basically what it means by that standard, right? We are basically going to be inheriting from Open Zeppelin library. I'll copy this and paste here. Open Zeppelin is a recognized contributor to the Ethereum ecosystem, basically. So they publish library. Think of it like NPM. People that published NPM libraries, for example, people that did create React app, right? You know what I'm saying? Basically, yeah, people that did a create React app or something, they published the library and they are so popular and so trusted by the Ethereum Foundation, by everybody. So everybody's like, hey, they are very, they are smart, their interfaces have been tested, everything. So a lot of people reuse or inherit their interfaces that are published as opposed to rewriting everything again. So I can, so if, as you can see from here, okay, this is the content of that interface. But if I wanted to, I could just inherit, I could just import it and inherit it. Um, yeah. So I could just import this. I could just creating your own ERC20 token can be as easy as importing the library. Once you import it, you say, my token is ERC20. As long as you say it is the exported interface here, then it automatically inherits all of those properties, right? Even so, if we look at the ERC20 smart interface, um, it has all these functions that we saw. But if we actually want to look at the smart contract itself, if we are inheriting the smart contract itself, that means you are saying your token here by this simple line is ERC20. I'm saying this my entire smart contract has copied and replicated all of these functions that exist in this ERC20 library that has been exported by OpenZemplate. So I'm saying all of this safe math, these underscore balances exist in my token now. I have a private mapping variable called allowances. I have a private uint256 variable called total supply. I have one called name. I have one called, so all of these things. And this is the constructor. The only regulation, right, that you have to, the only thing that you have to make sure that you do is when you are saying that your smart contract is a child of another smart contract, they are your constructors. You know, you have to be able to initiate the the constructor of your parent smart contract as yours is being initiated as well, or instantiated or initialized as well, depending on the programming language and the terminology that you're used to. Really, they're basically the same thing. So yeah, so the ERC20 smart contract has all these functions. This is their constructor. You actually have to pass these variables to their constructor. The variables could either be passed as you could either ask people to pass it in when you are creating your own constructor, right? The person that is initializing yours might as well just initialize the parent with the same variables, or you could delete these and manually initialize it, set it to some figures that are never going to change, because we all know that a smart contract, once it's deployed, it can be edited for life. Da-da-dum. So, so basically, you have getter functions for name. All of these things, if we scroll down, if you want to take a look at the ERC20.so in detail, I'm gonna paste it in the. Okay, can I zoom in a bit, Mustafa? I just saw that. Let me zoom in a bit so you can see my Git. Basically, this is my Git. I went to the link that I pasted, and I'm just exploring the ERC20 token. So it's a good way to wants a very good hack to be able to do a lot of things, because I know that Ebuka mentioned that a lot of people can do a lot of complex things with blockchain without knowing that much. It is actually true. A very safe way to do something complex, especially something that has already been done but needs to just be customized a bit, is to find it. If you find, because everything on the blockchain is open source, right? It's just that the open source is the source trusted or not trusted, right? Open Zeppelin, we know, is a trusted source. So you have to look for the source of the thing that you want to do and inherit it. You can import it manually. You can import it manually as your, what do you call it, as the GitHub link here. Even though, to be fair, I think there are builders, there are some there are some Solidity setups on Visual Studio that don't allow you import directly from an external source. They would advise you to download something like Open Zeppelin, npm install Open Zeppelin, or other trusted package distributors and inherit from them. They would advise you to do that for security measures, obviously. But technically, you could do whatever you want, and you could inherit their stuff, get access to all of their pre-existing functions. You can inherit it and do whatever you want with it, technically. So it is by this inheritance we shall very easily create a token contract. So I'm just gonna quickly come in here. Um, what should be the name of our token? I'll make a character token, even though there's no actual token. We soon have our token actually. But I'll just call it student token. We are going to actually deploy this on Gorley. Gorley is a testnet already deployed and deployed and managed by Ethereum for people to test. I have this money here. This money is not worth anything in real life. You can literally get Gorley from faucets. You can just Google. Yeah, this is the one I usually go to. This is the one I usually go to. Yes, this is one I usually go to. Alchemy is a known blockchain company, basically, and they would require you to sign up, share with your email and stuff. But you can have access to 0.2 Gorley per day. They like to ration it so that somebody does not go and pack, because even as it's a testnet, it's replicating the entire Ethereum environment. And in the Ethereum environment, all tokens have a limited supply. So even gas, all of ethers, there's a total supply of ETH, such that it keeps going around the ecosystem, and supply raises the value. Whenever demand is high, the value is high. Whenever demand is low, all of these things, the fact that it is not an unlimited source is what actually brings the real life economic effects of tokens. The English can be long to understanding it in details, but you get the picture. So basically, I have basically. So I'm going to put a link here as well. Everything I'm doing, you can literally follow me and be doing it right now. Thank you, Emmanuel. I see they're focused. Keep being focused in life. It's very good. So yeah, Gorily Fawcett, they might ask you for your email, to be fair, because I think the Alchemy people also want to advertise or something. I don't know. But they have my email, as you can see. But I'm entitled to 0.2. So if you look at my Gorily wallet now, you will see it will still increase.
Yeah,
0,
you
0,
didn't have sex.
0.7. because I have gotten my daily 0.2 Gorley from the faucet. I like to use Gorley because after the merge, other testnets are being deprecated. So Gorley has the most, I won't say life-like features, but it has the most lifelike features of Ethereum post-merge. So if you want to really test anything, like closer to the production environment. If mainnet is production environment, Goerli can be staging. For all out there who understand what it means, right? Yeah. So let's focus. Anywho, so I'm trying to let me see. I think Remix IDE by default. Let me rename this. Remix IDE by default has some libraries such as Open Zeppelin installed because, like I said, they are very popular in the ecosystem and you are encouraged to use them because they are trusted, right? Let me close. So the first thing that you do when you're creating a smart contract, this is me, I am hacking. You have to set up the Pragma define what version that you are using, right? And then I would easily just import Open Zeppelin and yeah, I'll easily just import Open Zeppelin and use it. I'm pretty sure Open Zeppelin should be installed somewhere. If it's not installed, we can install it, but I can bet you money that Remix IDE comes with it pre-installed. That's one of the good things of Remix IDE, right? And then I have installed it from the package, not necessarily from GitHub, even though I could do that. And I'll just be like a typical Stack Overflow dev and copy and paste this entire contract. Copy and paste them. I mean, it's replicatable. If it works, why fix it? I'm going to call this token student token again. It is an ERC20 token, basically doing the same thing. So I would okay. So whenever you are initializing a token, right? Like I said, every token has a maximum supply. So let me go back to the ERC20 um, ERC20, it inherits from the acknowledged standard IERC20. And what the very important things that you find in the standard, even if you go to this token swap, even if you go to the interface, the very important thing you find here is token supply. Token supply is your token. Anytime that you mint it, it has a maximum number of tokens that exists in the life cycle of Ethereum. People can send it, people can receive it, people can, like for example, our community, we plan to launch our own token first quarter of next year, and we would use it as a way of rewarding participation and the more active, the more we see the love and the help, then you would have a prefined system of how the community issues these rewards per time, right? So there is a total supply, so there is a maximum supply, right? And the value of the token is, so at every time you launch a token, let me go back to this. I am launching 100 times. Um, Basically, this is like a 100,000. So it's like 10 million or 100 million. But what, right? You can launch up to 20 million tokens, 20 million supply those tokens. This minting means I am initializing the value of the token supply, and I am when we are launching it, when we are deploying it, this is the maximum this token this maximum total number of this token that exists in the entire Ethereum virtual machine. So the value of the token will depend on how many people want it or demand of the token, right? If people are using it a lot, if people are trading Ethereum for your token a lot, then the value of your token in relation with ethers, that's gas fees, the existing value system of Ethereum. When you launch it is not a one-to-one mapping. I think general tokens, when you launch a general token, is not a one token to one Ethereum value mapping. No, I think it's a 0.000 token to one Ethereum mapping. But then the more people have demand for that token, and they trade some ETH, some gas, people and people are interacting with your smart contract, they're using gas, they are holding that token, then the value of the token becomes the actual IP investment. So as we're minting it now, we are minting a total supply. If we can literally launch the smart contract without minting it, what will happen is we literally have zero supply. It's an empty ERC20, and the smart contract is existing, but we cannot send or receive any of those tokens because nothing has been minted. So we have minted a supply, we have inherited, we have said this is our token name. I want to call it student token, AK student token. And then the symbol, I'll make it AKST. AK student token, right? Okay, student token. So basically the name and the symbol is a generalized way to identify it by mediums like MetaMask and the rest. Mediums like MetaMask and the rest. If you go to your MetaMask, you can see all of the activities that your MetaMask has done. If you go to the assets, though, this is where you can see, like you see, this is why Gorilla ETH. And these are some other tokens. I've been playing with some Pico, some A. I don't know what this A is, to be fair, but that's the smart contract is launched somewhere. Heaven knows when I did this, but you get the picture. Now we want to say this is our contract, this is our token, this is who we are. Let's launch this and deploy. The easy thing that this guy does is we can easily just compile. I don't want to compile everything in case I don't know what's happening in the other ones. So I am compiling student token.json. Just by looking at the compiling, right? Oh yes, unused parameter. I mean, okay, the is warning me that it's unused, but it's still compiling really because basically life. If I wanted to use it, what I would have done is, so what I did there was bypass using those parameters. This name and this symbol being passed here are going to be used to initialize the parent, or I can initialize it directly, like I told you. But imagine if I didn't want to initialize it directly, right? If I could just compile, because it will still compile, to be fair. Okay, it actually didn't compile the first time. Interesting. They're becoming very strict. It's nice. Good for security. So basically, I have to pass in if I'm not using, if I were initializing it directly, I'll have to remove these two constructor variables, which, I mean, I don't think it's necessary. So just by looking at the compilation, we can look at the artifacts. If we have been following some of the courses, we know and see the artifacts. So scroll down. This is the deployment data. This is some other data. This is the API. It has all these plenty serere. It has stuff like approval, transfer. These are events, allowance. These are all things that are let me approve. These are all things that we inherited from our parents because we basically did not write anything. We just inherited the ERC20 standard, right? So this is all in our ABI. We still need to copy it. Okay, so we have that. On another tab, I would like to open a Create React app. I don't know if you guys can see my terminal. Let me go back to this. Okay, can you guys see my terminal? Does the increase in value of your token add value to it? No, it doesn't add value to it. ETH is just the measure of comparing. It's just the measure of regulating your own value. So if your token increases in value, that's good for you. It means the amount of people holding that token can go and cash out and get more money in the outside world relating to Ethereum. Do you understand? If one ETH costs, I think around right now it might cost like maybe $5,000 or so. I'm not sure. If one ETH in the real world costs $5,000, right? If my token now, as we launch this our student token, maybe our name don't blow, people don't buy the token, and people are holding it, and people are struggling for it, and the gas fees are going around our token, and the value starts to increase. I now that have like 10 million of my token, I can just jejely go and say, Ethereum, please let me cash out. Take let me trade these tokens in for real world data, and the tokens will measure, and Ethereum, when they're trying to cash out, will measure, okay, my 10,000 token as per the value in relation to Ethereum, in relation to the $5,000 in the real world, how much money are they going to give me for that token? And that's the real world money that they're going to give me, basically. I hope that makes sense, Mustafa. Let me go back. Let me not go too far. So now I'm trying to do a Create React application. Can you guys see my terminal? Can you indicate if you can see my terminal? Because my terminal is open currently. Okay, no one can see my terminal. Okay, let me just open Visual Studio, right? And then, yeah, let me just open Visual Studio. And then, to be fair, I've already created this tutorial before. I know a lot of tutors don't like to do the expo. They like to they're just coding from their heads. I have done it before. But let me just share my screen so we all have the experience. Let me stop presenting the screen and present the one with the Create React app. Okay. But so far we all being carried along, basically. Okay. Let me share my screen. Sharing my screen. Okay, can we all see my Visual Studio now? I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with Visual Studio, right? I'll just use to create a React app in this directory. Correct. I mean, I want it to be in this present directory. Okay, it's setting up the React. Let me zoom in. What I'm basically doing is I'm running a Create React app npx command. Hope my screen is visible enough. Um, what I would like to do is I would like us to the rest of us that have our wallet addresses. Thank you, Chinua. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Mustafa. I appreciate the interaction and the feedback. I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. So I'd like us to have our wallet addresses and paste our wallet addresses. I would like to have maybe like 10 or so, because what I want to do is, oh, we have compiled our smart contract, but we did not deploy it. As our Create React app is building, um, as it's installing, let's come over to the smart contract. Let's come over to the smart contract, right? So it has compiled. Maybe you can see that this has compiled. You can see it has compiled nicely. Cool. So let us deploy it. Let's come to this deployment tab on Remix IDE. We can scroll down. We can use the London merge and the rest, but I like to use the closest I can get to so I have to Goily because I just obtained some Goily ETH. Now that I've connected my MetaMask, if you see my account has shown here, it knows who is performing these transactions, right? And it knows, okay, this is Open Zeppelin library, right? So everything has been set up. All I have to do is hit deploy. When I'm hitting deploy on Remix, it's showing me like, oh, this is the gas fee. This is the estimated gas fee. Should I confirm? I'm gonna go ahead, bro. And what it's doing is, if I open my MetaMask during the process, I can see this. Oh, it was very brief. How many of us saw the pending transaction? It was very brief. You can open your MetaMask and see pending transactions, and transactions have been deployed, right? When I open this and see contract deployment, I can view on Explorer. So this will take me to Gorillion. It's still updating its information about this transaction. And it says, oh yes, this was a successful transaction. And it created this contract. Let me click on the contract. This is the contract. Oh, and you see there was a mistake here. And it's good that it ran because our code base is very simple. I did not indicate a name for my smart contract or a symbol. Even though the deployment here, if we look at Remix IDE, it was asking me for name or symbol. I did not put anything, and I did not put any validator to require a name or a symbol, right? Why I like Remix ID is because you can also test deployed smart contracts. If you come here, you can also test it. So I can come here and say name, and call this function to say retrieve the name of this smart contract. And then the name of the smart contract, what's the output? So this call has returned this, and then the output is empty string. As you can see, my token has no name and no symbol. Obviously, it has been deployed. It exists somewhere on Goily 8, but it's not very accessible or usable. Do you get, like, in real transaction terms? So I'll redeploy again. I can redeploy as many times as I want in Goily. So again, let's call it student token. Student token name symbol is STD, not STD, God, student. Student token TKN STKN. Let's call it STKN. Let me deploy again. Asking me again, how far, how far? I'm like, yes, please. Can you guys see my Ethereum, my MetaMask pop up when it pops up? Let me know if my screen share is not showing my MetaMask prompt. Okay, you can see my MetaMask prompt. Perfect. Perfect. Because I want you to just see the flow. So now I can call the same smart contract and say name. When it's because it's a read function. A read function in smart contract, if we remember Buka and Sam what they were saying, read functions don't cost gas because they're just reading information. It is write functions that usually cost gas. That's why MetaMask will not prompt me for anything. But if I look down now, I see, oh, the name. Okay, the name is my token string. Is that what I entered? Didn't I enter student token? Oh, but in here, can you see? I didn't even, these are all mistakes I'm making, but it turns out it's a teachable moment. I overlooked removing this, my token. Wait, which screen are you guys seeing exactly? Have you guys been seeing my deployments and the MetaMask prompt? I feel like I'm using a different screen for you guys. That sucks. Okay, so let me deploy here. I've been, honestly, my deployment, I deployed in another screen. Let me deploy here, student token, STTKN, deploy. MetaMask is asking me, should it deploy? I said, yes, please deploy. It has deployed successfully. It's showing me pending. Now it's showing me it has been successfully deployed. You can see. Showing me the different deploy. I've deployed this thing like 3 times now. 1, 2, 3. I'll go to my most recent, which should be the one at the most bottom. I mean, if you want to confirm, I usually check the. If you want to view on Explorer to confirm, sometimes I do that. The contract is the one with. This one we're using 56E3C. Okay, let's come back here. The one that we're using is on with 56E3C. Okay, that's the last one. Figure out as much. Okay, so if we fetch the name of this smart contract now, what we return is student token. You can see it here. And if you want, you can also see it in the debug this thing. It shows you all the information. It shows you student token, right? And so we have deployed this. We have maximum quantity of this token. So we have 11 tokens, right? Let me look at my Create React app if it has finished building. It has finished building. Let me run yarn and stuff. Okay. So yeah, so one thing that happens for every token is for the user of a token, or for, how do you put it now? For, because I deploy this token now, right, using my address, which is my MetaMask address. Deploy this token on Goerli testnet. If we don't, because I have minted this entire 10,000 tokens, right? The to authorize people to start spending it, there are functions here. So I hope we understand by now that most of all these functions, Remix ID gives you a way of calling them directly instead of using a user interface. That's another good thing with Remix ID 8 to learn, right? So for example, if I say balance off is saying, oh, this my token address. How much balance do I have? So I'm going to copy this token address. I'm going to put it here. Balance of is a read function also, right? If I say balance of, it says 0 because technically I have not I have not allowed myself to own as much tokens. I might have deployed in here, they belong to the smart contract. So I have to allow myself. You have to allow people to spend your tokens for them to be able to. So the deployed token has to, the owner of the deployed token has to allow people to gain access to it before they can spend it, which is a very popular thing that people always call it ICOs, in initial coin offerings. So if even when we do our Akara tokens, there'll be a point where we will have initial coin offerings and we'll like open it to a lot of people and allow a bunch of people. We are basically running this allowance function for a whole bunch of people to be able to use their smart contracts, right? So allowance, I'm going to put no or approve allowance. Oh, I see. So there's allowance and then there's approval, right? Right. So if you want to approve, you're approving somebody to spend. So when you're doing ICOs, actually what we do is approve people to spend such and such amount. When we want to do allowance, it's basically you are this contract. So is a third party. For example, somebody has approved me to own 10 million of my of this student token. Now I can grant another person access to spend these tokens on my behalf. That's allowance. Approval is basically the owner of the smart contract, that's ICOs. They are basically doing an initial offering and they are saying come and own this smart contract, and basically you can do whatever you want with this smart contract, right? So I'm putting my own address and I'm putting 10. I imagine it's a very big amount we have there. So I'm trying to approve myself to spend this money. I mean, because I'm the owner of the smart contract, it should be very straightforward action. You say approval pending. If you can see pending transaction. So approval approved. So now when I look at balance of my own money, right, the balance should have been up. Unless I'm not using the right address. Okay. Which address did it deploy this thing from? I know I have two metamask. It's connected to my dev account. Alright. So basically we have that money minted. So but I want to see the total minted amount. Am I the right? We didn't mint any amount. So we have 0 supply. So this basically shows that we did not mint any amount, which is very interesting and weird. Because generally we called a mint function, right? We called this mint function to mint this amount. So we're to say that this does not have any supply at all. The name came out pretty okay. The supply is saying 0. I'm not sure. I don't know if I should redeploy or if I should wrap it around with string parentheses as if That's the problem. Nope, that's not the problem. And we don't have deployed it properly. Let me even go where it's deployed. Let me look at the contract itself. Mm-hmm. Let me look at the ERC20 token transactions. So the many people that send or spend my tokens, all of the transactions, they'll all come up here. Okay, they say the balance is 0 Ether. Right here, staring me in the face, it has 0 Ether. That's not right. We need to redeploy it again. My bad. I feel like I didn't deploy it properly the first time. Let me delete all these deployments. Let me go back to the code base. Go back to the code base. Student token. I'll compile again. Make sure it's the latest version. And then I'll deploy. Student token. So the name is student. Where is the S token? NXTJM. Publish. Well, the goal is to publish it and then because it hasn't published. So let me say total supply again. And total supply supposed to be 10 million because we minted it. Maybe I deployed an old version. But I hope you guys are learning how to use Remix ID from my mistakes. So there's a total supply. So I am approving myself to spend that amount. Right, approve. Even though technically, because I deployed the smart contract, um, I already have that balance. But let me. So balance of my wallet address is these whole tokens. So I have all these many tokens. So you guys can put your wallet addresses, and I can send you some of these tokens just to see. You can just paste them on the chat. Let's continue right on 8. Let's hurry up. Let us go back. So this is all it takes to deploy your smart contract token. Generally, literally, if you did this on the mainnet, you have a token period. People can send it, spend it, and the value can rise and drop, which is why there is room for a lot of scamming on crypto. It is on the blockchain. It isn't because stuff that has already been done and just kind of tell people stories. Oh, we are going to build. So what most of the Ponzi pump and dump schemes on crypto is, for example, now if I publish this token and I now start putting ads on like newspapers and banners, I'm like, yo, we are, if you buy this token, doing this and we're doing this and we're doing this, this token's price is going to increase tomorrow. Buy. People will buy and the price will actually increase as people are buying. But because I'm the personal owner of this account, I can very easily just go and withdraw the entire money. So which is called pump and dump schemes and the rest, which is why a lot of people I advise you to look at the contract launching the token. Is it a multi-sig? Is it a single person? Or is it an organization launching the token? Do more investigations before investing in all of these things and make sure their real world value is actually what they say. I say this in application to us too because we will soon be launching our token. Yeah. Basically that's it. Um, quick tip bit there. Let me see if I can stop sharing and go to our Create React app. So going back to our Create React app. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Emmanuel. As I'm opening my Create React app, I'll quickly just send all of you. So, oh, I'll send you the money now, the tokens now, and I'll show you how to use your MetaMask to check what those tokens are. But now let me quickly just send them as we're talking. I'll just quickly send you guys like 100,000 or so. But there's so many tokens in there. Sending you actual money, just so you know. Yeah, sending you goily money, which is not real life money. Sent to Emmanuel. I'm sending to any. No, but let me share this actual screen so you guys will see me sharing to you before I switch to my this thing. I'm sending to any. I'm sending to any right now. It's confirming. Oh, I mean technically. Rejected the last transaction. STK token. So if you see, this is the symbol that we created and the rest. So I'm sending to the comparison. I'm also sending to Sheke and then Lawson, and then out to be the so I'm sending it basically for you guys to be able to see it on your MetaMask and do with it what you mean. Lawson and then Okoni Manuel. See, I'm sending directly on Remix IDE, but what we are going to do now is we are going to connect our Create React app so we can send it. So yeah, I have sent all you guys. Let's go back to the Create React app screen. Hope we're following. If I miss any of you somewhere, let me know. Even though I feel like we're making good time, this is not the one. I feel like we're making good time and we will be done very quickly. So we have done the Create React app, right? We can see very straightforward. I'm even doing yarn there. Okay, there's another port. That's fine. So it's starting on this port. Let me bring it to the screen I'm sharing. Okay, I'm not sharing the screen exactly, but be able to see it. Don't really have this Explorer setup, but you guys get the picture. So this is a regular Create React app.js. You see how it is regular learn React. Look, looks very straightforward, right? What I will do is go down and I want to get a different terminal and I want to install the Web3 is a plugin, one of the plugins that we used for the last lessons, and that's the only thing that we will add in this session. We're adding the plugin and it's loading. Um, yeah. So in the meantime, let's import our APIs. So by now we already know how to get our API, right? I am assuming we already know how to get our API. We go to Remix IDE, we go to the artifacts section where our contract is, we go to the token.js, we go to the API side, basically copy everything that's in there. So there are different ways to import the API. I'm going to create a file and I'll be like, token, and I'm going to put the API in here, right? So basically, this is what we go to export. I can just put it either way. I've imported my API here. I have installed the Web3 library here. It's available on the packages in it. Yes. Okay, cool. So now I have my app.js file, and I'm just gonna paste the simple form I created. Simple as form. I also paste it to you guys as well in the app.js section. Basically simple, super simple. I'm going to remove all the other things in here. I'm going to come and paste the form. So you all know this has been copied and pasted. I'm going to use this React hooks. So first up was right, isn't it how pretty much? I'm sure I showed an error. So I'll do this for tokens. I'm sorry, amount. My bad. My very much bad. Don't be angry. I'm doing it outside the app function. Duh. I have to run it in a function. So yeah, there are different values. I'm getting the amount. I'm setting the amount. Okay, I'm also setting the address I'm sending to, and then there are different functions. Okay, so also address. Set to address. I'm calling it address now, it's fine. We can just call it address right now, it's cool. Okay, so the getters and setters are set. Now it's time for me to bring in the functions that are actually sending the. So I can act. Let me. Um, we have a send tokens function. We also have a get balance function. I'm trying to update everything so there are no errors. Cool, but there's nothing in the function yet. It's left for us to update it. Um, so what we can do to send our tokens, or first of all, let's get balance, right? I hope you can all see my screen. Let me go back for some feedback. Oh, let me. Hmm. Okay, you guys can see my screen. Thank you, Mustafa. Okay, so I will share. Um, let me look at the reactor. Let me share right now. Let me share the entire screen. I hope it doesn't hang again because I have multiple screens open, but we can make it work. We can make it work. Okay. Can you guys see my Create React app? It has update balance. This is a very terrible screen, by the way. Let me zoom my zoom my this thing. Very terrible UI. There is nothing there. I'm basically updating my balance. Right now the button does nothing. I'm updating my actual token balance. I'm sending it to somebody. I'm receiving it from somebody, right? So right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a lot of replicating, but I would be walking us through the entire process, right? So I'm not gonna type as I'm coding because this was already done before. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing that we should do actually is initialize the token contract. That's actually a very smart thing to do. So as we realized in the last what you call them, in our last vanilla React vanilla JS stuff, we need to connect to the token address, right? So I will initialize the Web3 provider using the library, and then I'll initialize our token contract via using our contract address and imported APIs. I can do these things outside the function, it's fine. Basically, everything for weeks. Cool. So this is to initialize the Web3 plugin that we installed. This is supposed to be the contract of our deployed student address, which I can go to Remix IDE. You see, there's some errors, right? Oh, now let me go to Remix IDE one after the other. Go to Remix IDE. Check for where my contract was deployed. So this is a student token. This is what we're playing around with. I'm going to copy this address here. I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, hey, this is my contract address with this new address. And then into update variables. So basically what this code base is doing is, for as many of us that are familiar with React, we can see um, this send tokens function is what happens when we submit the simple form. This simple form is what setting. I'm over here. I'm move it closer. Is what setting the address and the amount, right? So now that I have checked, I have set up the Web3. Okay, my update balance still doesn't work because I have not connected the get balance function. So now I'm going to basically replicate my get balance function here and walk you through it because it's just quicker. I'm preventing the default event from triggering. I am connecting to my Ethereum. I am basically making sure that it's enabled. And then I am getting the first list of accounts that has been connected. So the very first one is what I'm getting. And then I am creating basically, I just called it post, but to be fair, it can be anything. But I'm calling the token contract that I've initialized by initializing the new. So basically, how to connect to a token contract that has been launched is you initialize the Web3 contract, you set up the ABI, and then you connect it to the address, to the contract address. If it's a valid contract, I should be able to call the ABI functions, which is basically all the ABI functions. I should be able to call all the functions by saying contract methods, and in those methods I can call one of the functions which is balance of, which we can see here, balance of, right? If it's an invalid function, it will fail, right? And then when I set the account, I'm checking the balance of my own account, right? I can even console log to see account address. I can console log to see, and then balance of takes only one input, which is the address. You want to check the token balance of. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then it returns the actual balance. There are no gas fees, so it doesn't prompt your MetaMask. If I come back here to my Create React app and I refresh, hopefully that means something. Update my balance. Okay, it does not require gas fees, but it requires a connection. So your initial connection is to prompt you like, oh, can I connect your MetaMask? And it has said yes. So I know my account address here is what has been connected to MetaMask. This is the balance of those tokens in my account. So now that we're all seeing our screens, you guys that I sent you those tokens earlier, a way to see the balance of your token, because here, if you see, even me, I don't know the balance of these student tokens because they are not so popular. As you can imagine, there are probably thousands and thousands of Ethereum tokens that individuals have deployed for different reasons. So MetaMask does not know all of them. We only know the prominent token address, which it can pre-populate by itself. All of these I set them up myself, right? A way that you can do this to see the value of your individually deployed token is to copy the address of your smart contract where the token is deployed, right? Copy the address. This is not the current one. Well, basically copy the address, come to your MetaMask, scroll down, go to import tokens, and it asks you for the token contract address. I'll paste what I just copied. And if you set the symbol, it pre-populates it. If you did not set it, you have to set it manually. And then it sets the decimal and all of that by default, right? When I say add custom token, it will confirm this is my balance. This is the balance STK tokens. And I'm saying yes, import STK tokens. So now I can see my balance STK tokens. When I scroll down now, I can see these are my STK tokens. This is because I have not converted Way. Way is the uint type, which is big int, which is in 18 decimal places. I have not converted from Way to regular int. So you are just saying it as it is. But MetaMask does that conversion when you import it. So gentlemen that I send those things to, and hopefully a lady, you guys let me know if you're able to import the student token that we have created to your own MetaMask as you're watching and see the balance of the money that I sent you. The money might not be a lot, but at least you should be able to import it and see something, right? You guys should check it out, test it, and let me know. Give me some feedback. Um, but yeah, so if I wanted to send to someone else, for example, I can send to, these are pre-filled because I've been using them a lot. I've been sending to myself. So if you observe, I have two MetaMask accounts, right? I can decide to send to my second account. Let me open the same site somewhere else in a different browser. On this browser now, when I want to connect, as my second account and my second MetaMask wallet. By the way, you can have as many MetaMask wallets as you want in this life. You can have as many as you want. So after I've connected to that account, if I say update balance, it has zero balance. It is fetching, but it is fetching zero balance because it's this address. Once I come and I put this address in here, my bad, I'm sorry, the actual address that I console logged. Or I can copy from MetaMask too, but it's fine. When I put this address in here, right, and then I say the amount, okay, let the amount be. Again, I'm not doing any conversion from way to actual decimal places. So this 5,000 probably like maybe 50. When I say confirm this transaction, what happens is, oh, it's telling me insufficient funds because I'm trying to transfer too much. Okay, which is fine. Okay. So, which is also fair, I guess. Right? Oh, it's telling me insufficient funds because even on this, it switched the connection. My bad. As I switched the connection in that tab, it switched on this tab. Let me update balance. So I'm back to my previous account, and I'm sending to my other account, and I'm saying confirm. It should go now. Yeah, it's telling me I'm sending 0.00005, right? Which I have confirmed. Which the transaction is. Oh, it has already sent. So when I come here and I refresh my screen, imagine it has switched my screen to the other. Let me make sure it's the right account. I'll make sure I'm on dev. And I'll update my balance from dev. It shows this 5,000 away that I just basically sent to my other wallet. As you know, you can have as many wallets as you want in life. It's just you shall need to know all the private keys and keep them safe. So this is how we have created a token. We have deployed the token on Gorilla 8, and we can send and receive those fungible money tokens. Thank God there is we're about done. So any questions? Any questions? Please send contract address so you can import. Oh, my bad. Thank you, Emmanuel. That's how you know people are following. Actually, that's how you know. This person is following you. Please take. Emmanuel, here's the contract address. Let me know when you import it. This is actually a very good question, or a very good point. This is the smart contract address. So let me know when you import it. So yeah, all of us that are able to import, do a thumbs up. Now we have come to the end of our practical session. Any questions? Lawson has imported. Nice. Any has imported. Nice. Have you guys seen your balance? Probably 0.000 something. But you should see some balance in there. Nice, nice. So it's basically as easy as that to deploy stuff and use stuff. Um, I will I'll upload this to a repo, even though to be fair, I can just copy and paste it on this channel, on the chat, because I wanted it to be very concise and simple. The main thing that you need to know is how to initialize the contract, how to set up the address, and how to send and receive data, right? This is again the preliminary, very bare minimum stuff that you need. Any questions? You can put your hands up. We can unmute if we have questions. I can unshare. Let me copy the entire app.js file. I'll also put it um I'll also put it on this thing, on Git somewhere, to be fair. Oh, it will let me import everything. My bad. It will let me paste everything because it has a limit. Makes sense. I'll share the Gitpo for this. If we do not have any questions, do we have questions? If we do not have any questions, we can start to wind down because I don't want it to take too much time. So yeah, we are literally coming to the end of our bootcamp. So thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for following through. We hope that you learned something, right? After this session will be our next session. I don't think a lot of practicals or coding per se. There might be some practicals, but it will mainly be a question and answer session. And I think Success has something planned for Christmas and games night or something that even me, I'm attending that one. We'll all attend and see what we have planned. But we have basically getting to the end of it. We have learned the foundations. We have learned how to connect dApps. Most of the things have been demystified, I hope. This is a foundations boot camp. Our next first quarter of next year, we are hoping to have a mid-level boot camp where we can really enter some things, right? So we hope that we have been helpful. We'll send out questionnaires as well. Give us some feedback. Let us do better for the next sessions and the next boot camp that we're having. You can also like refer other people because we'll keep having beginners boot camps and we can still keep having like intermediate and advanced and over time. Yeah, so it's time for me to drop off if I don't have any questions, to be honest. Thank you so much. And yeah, see you on the other side. Success, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you for the class. And I believe we all had an awesome time. Thank you for staying through. Our class on Wednesday still holds, so it will be more of a question and answer session. And also, if there is any issue you've been having from the beginning of the cohorts, you can do well to write them down and highlight them. We'll be doing justice to them. And especially on Saturday, we'll be having a special Twitter space where will be thoughts by a professional how to create resumes for your Web3 job. So please, I will advise we should all clear our schedule to be 6 p.m. West African time. It promises to be educative. Please try and let's see how we can avail ourselves and grow. I think this should be one of our best gifts for the year. 2023 is coming. You have devoted your time. It's not yet over until you begin to see definite results. And consistency is one thing that will place you in the hallmark of greatness. So thank you all for joining. See you on Wednesday. And also note, we've been taking attendance and we've been taking it strictly, really certified. Thank you so much, Scott Channel. Take care of yourself and good night. Bye bye, everyone.